Franz Kafka is considered one of the most significant writers in modern literature, famous for his distinctive dark, bewildering, and surreal prose. His style is so unique that the term Kafkaesque is now used to describe anything resembling his work. To grasp his writing and the essence of Kafkaesque, it helps to explore his early years. Born in Prague in 1883 to Hermann and Julie Kafka, Franz grew up under the shadow of his father, a self-made, domineering businessman who had climbed from working-class origins to wealth and social standing. Hermann, like many parents, had high expectations for his son, expectations Franz could never meet. From birth, Franz was frail, nervous, and often ill, traits that stayed with him. Unintentionally, he became a constant disappointment to his father, who saw him as a project to reshape into his own ideal. As Kafka grew older, he turned to writing as an escape from his deepening anxiety, guilt, and self-loathing. However, his father forbade him from pursuing literature, steering him instead toward a career in law, effectively dictating the course of his life. While studying law in university, Kafka kept writing and formed a close friendship with Max Brod, a fellow writer who later persuaded him to publish his first 3 collections. However, these works sold poorly and were largely ignored. After graduating, Kafka worked in a law firm and then at an insurance company, where he endured grueling hours, unpaid overtime, endless paperwork, and convoluted bureaucracy, leaving him deeply unhappy. Despite his demanding job, Kafka continued writing in his spare time, creating some of his most famous works, including The Trial, The Castle, and America. Yet he never tried to publish them, often leaving them incomplete, convinced they were inadequate. He spent most of his short life at the insurance company, squeezing in writing whenever he could. In 1924, at just 41, Kafka died of tuberculosis. He never saw success or recognition for his writing during his lifetime, and even died thinking his work was worthless. On his deathbed, he begged Max Brod to burn all his unpublished manuscripts, a request Brod famously ignored. Instead, Brod posthumously published Kafka's works, securing his legacy as one of literature's greatest voices. Now, a century later, we're still discussing Kafka. After his death, Max Brod dedicated over a year to compiling and publishing Kafka's scattered notes and unfinished manuscripts. Within a decade, Kafka rose to become one of the most influential literary and philosophical voices of the 1900s. It is striking to think that one of history's greatest writers spent his life with his genius hidden away in drawers, perhaps vaguely aware, entirely oblivious, or simply indifferent to the fact that he had created some of modern literature as most groundbreaking works. To his father, he was a failure, never measuring up. But to history, he is a towering figure. This makes you wonder, how many others like Kafka have walked this earth, stifled or unseen, never realizing their true potential? How many voices, capable of reshaping the world, were silenced before they could be heard? How many people never lived to see the legacy they were destined to leave behind? Thankfully for the world, though not for Kafka himself, his writings were preserved, giving rise to an entirely new literary and philosophical movement, the Kafkaesque. While this term often describes the labyrinthine bureaucracies of capitalist, judicial, and governmental systems, those convoluted, impersonal machines where no single person truly understands the rules and the system itself remains indifferent, its meaning runs deeper. Kafkaesque isn't just about the systems themselves, but about the human experience within them, the confusion, helplessness, and existential dread they provoke. Take The Trial, one of Kafka's most famous works. The protagonist, Joseph K., is arrested one morning without explanation. Dragged through a nonsensical, chaotic legal process, he encounters corruption and illogic at every turn. By the story's end, he is executed without ever learning his crime, yet he remains guilty. Similarly, in The Metamorphosis, Gregor Samsa wakes up transformed into a giant insect with no reason given. His immediate concern? Getting to work and supporting his ungrateful family, an impossible task in his new form. As he struggles, his family grows increasingly resentful, seeing him as nothing but a burden. In both tales, the protagonists face sudden, irrational shifts in reality. There are no answers, no justice, and no escape. They are crushed by forces they cannot comprehend, let alone control. This is the essence of Kafkaesque, the crushing weight of absurdity, the futility of resistance, and the haunting question: what if the world makes no sense at all? At the heart of Kafkaesque writing lies a collision with the absurd, a relentless battle where characters' logic, efforts, and worldview shatter against impenetrable walls of irrationality. The essence of Kafkaesque lies in this futile struggle. Protagonists desperately try to comprehend their predicaments and claw their way out, despite success being both unattainable and meaningless. Yet they persist. One could interpret these nightmarish scenarios as Kafka's vision of the human condition. We're driven by an insatiable need for answers, for mastery over life's existential terrors, guilt, anxiety, suffering, and the sheer absurdity of existence. But we're forever barred from truly understanding or conquering them. The tragic brilliance, however, is that Kafka's characters refuse to surrender at first. They rage against the void, scrambling for logic or escape from their incomprehensible plights. But their defiance changes nothing. In this, Kafka may be revealing a grim truth. The quest for meaning is itself a paradox. As thinking beings, we're condemned to wrestle with a universe that refuses to make sense. Our struggle is both inevitable and doomed, a haunting echo of our place in the absurd. Yet, in a cruel twist, our very attempts to solve life's unresolvable dilemmas only deepen the struggle we seek to escape, suggesting we might, on some level, crave the battle itself. This represents just one possible reading among many. Kafka's intentionally ambiguous, dreamlike writing invites countless interpretations. Maybe his work suggests we shouldn't take life's absurdity so seriously. Maybe it argues we must keep fighting regardless. Or perhaps it demonstrates that ultimate meaning will always elude us. The truth is, only Kafka could have known his work's definitive meaning, if even he truly did. What remains unquestionable is his profound influence on literature, thought, and human understanding. Across generations, readers have found solace in his words, recognizing their own existential doubts and bureaucratic nightmares reflected in his Kafkaesque visions. Kafka's personal story, while tragic, is far from unique. A domineering father, unfulfilling life, fragile health. These are universal human struggles. Being born into unfavorable circumstances, whether familial, social, or physical, remains a shared human experience. Kafka's genius lay in transforming these common sufferings into art that speaks to our deepest uncertainties, giving form to the formless anxieties we all confront but seldom articulate. His legacy endures precisely because he gave voice to the silent dread of modern existence, to exist without ever realizing one's true capabilities, to feel trapped as an insignificant gear in some vast corporate or governmental machine, to carry the weight of existential dread without knowing why. These are universal experiences, moments when we've all encountered the Kafkaesque. Kafka's brilliance doesn't lie in portraying something extraordinary, but in articulating our ordinary struggles with extraordinary depth. He captures those ineffable aspects of human experience that we all know but struggle to name. As author Anne Rice reflected, Kafka's writing revealed a crucial creative truth. Never compromise. Never dilute. Never force rationality where it doesn't belong. Never tailor your essence to fit trends. Instead, pursue your deepest fascinations without apology. His legacy teaches us the power of uncompromising artistic vision in expressing life's fundamental absurdities. Kafka's work offered no comforting illusions to soothe the soul, but rather demanded direct engagement with our deepest shadows. By twisting reality to reflect his raw perception of human existence, he created a form of liberation through ruthless self-scrutiny, making space for others to do the same. "We should read only books that wound us," he wrote in a letter. "If what we read doesn't strike us like a blow to the skull, why read at all? To feel happy? My God, we'd be happy enough without books." Though never stated outright, Kafka's work ultimately shows us that our deepest impulse isn't surrender, but persistence. Despite life's absurdities, we keep fighting against the universe for our own path toward unvarnished truth and authentic connection, however painful the pursuit.